NBC News, the first American media organization to film these joint operations, just weeks ago. U.S. and Colombian law enforcement agencies collaborating to bring down drug cartel leaders and human smugglers before their drugs or trafficking victims make it to the U.S.
They've been going through their belongings as police look for more evidence of crimes committed in Colombia and linked to the United States.
So how did we get here? Last summer, I reported on U.S. efforts to disrupt smuggling networks by equipping police in other countries to make strategic arrests. That led to an opportunity to embed with agents from Homeland Security Investigations, aka HSI, to see these arrests firsthand. We flew to Bogota, met HSI and Colombian police.
Everywhere we go here in Colombia, we're within the security bubble of the U.S. government, traveling in armored vehicles.
The first day, we met Brendan O'Brien at the U.S. Embassy. He's America's second highest diplomat in the country.
Well, the security situation has certainly improved in Colombia. I lived here from 2005 to 2007. It's improved dramatically in terms of murder rate, in terms of crime. There is a challenge currently with crime.
The challenge here is a steep one. Colombia is dealing with more than 2 million recently arrived Venezuelans, many of whom struggle to find work. And it remains one of the top 5 countries worldwide to traffic illegal drugs. Then we flew to Medellin, got about 2 hours of sleep before heading out on our first mission in the wee hours of the morning. We didn't just follow security procedures for our own safety. There were measures in place to protect the safety of the police officers as well. Since cartels in this area are known to retaliate against police, we were asked never to show their faces or their names. Just before dawn, we learned the mission they'd be taking on. 4 locations across Medellin, all connected to a drug syndicate, allegedly manufacturing synthetic drugs found in Miami. We hung back as they breached the door and stormed the apartment of the alleged leader.
All right, so we're arriving. We can get down now. They're securing the area, but you guys can get out and film, and we'll let you know just how far.
Inside, agents found cash, ecstasy, fake weapons, and marijuana. Across town, other agents recovered over 650 vials of ketamine. We were close enough to capture this conversation between the alleged leader and his mother. The next day, we boarded a plane to head north to the border between Colombia and Panama. First to an airport in Aportado, then we took a Black Hawk to a base in Necoclí. We were told this area was too dangerous to see the operation, so we hung back at the base until the police came back with a suspect in handcuffs.
These are leaders of a human smuggling network who have been taking migrants across Colombia into Panama, and they've been arrested here today by Colombian National Police with the help of the Americans at HSI.
And that's where our field reporting came to an end. We boarded up all our gear, all 16 boxes of it, and bulletproof vests, and headed back home via Black Hawk, police plane, and finally a flight back to Washington.
And Julia Ainsley joins me now. Julia, this is an incredible story to work on, but also probably had to be pretty nerve-wracking. I mean, talk to me about the security preparations that went into this beforehand. Did you have to do special training? I mean, what goes into this?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little nervous heading into it, but incredibly pleasantly surprised because so much of this was just kind of orchestrated for us because we're traveling, like we said, within the security bubble. They have the operations planned out ahead of time. They're protecting us, so we're staying back. But yes, we did a specialized training, my producer and I, before we went in, just based on what we might find in Colombia to try to be able to respond to anything should it come up. Luckily, we didn't get there, but yes, NBC wanted to make sure we were very prepared, and the U.S. government wanted to make sure we were prepared too. So we also talked to the embassy about where we would be going.
The embassy, they don't want you to be a liability, essentially, for their own people. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, obviously, you had to prepare on the front end to be able to go and do this safely, but I imagine all of the forces that you're with want to prepare to have, what was it, a 2-person crew, a 3-person crew there safely operating in that same space?
Yeah, with all of us, it's 4 people, and what makes this so hard is that we are trying to do so much logistic work to make sure it's safe, but also be able to get an operation when it's time to go. And as you know, when a law enforcement entity decides it's time to arrest people and they have the warrants to do so, they want to act immediately.
Right.
So we really only had a few days' notice. Luckily, NBC, the people on the ground there, were able to act very quickly and get us down there. But it took a lot of people to make sure we could do this safely and get that level of access. Really, I'm still sitting here wondering how it all came together.
You talked in the piece about not being able to show the faces and the names of the officers you were working with. Were there other restrictions placed on like kind of how and what you could document in a situation like that?
Yeah, we wanted to be really careful about how much information we were showing. I mean, like we said, they could be retaliated against. And so if we got really close to someone, we would explain to them, look, we're not going to show your face down the road. We'll blur it. And I think that that gave the people we're working with an extra level of comfort.
Julia Ainsley, awesome story, awesome backstory. Thank you for sharing all of that with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.